recently in Super Bowl history.
Such a good game, such a bad call. We all remember that questionable play call in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and with a similar call in this past Thursday Seahawks-Rams game, Richard Sherman not too happy about it, complaining on the sideline and in his post-game press conference yesterday. Russell Wilson was asked about Sherman's criticism and the Super Bowl play. Take a listen.
I hope we get to the 1 yard line again, and I'd throw it again too, if it was the right call, at the right timing. So I have all the confidence in the world in that. I have all the confidence in the world in the players that we have. There's no reservations in my mind, no hesitation at all. And like I said, we're committed to doing whatever it takes to win and finding ways.
Oh, Max, what do you make of Sierra's husband saying this?
Russell Wilson.
I do like that introduction.
Russell Wilson is a great player in his prime. He's exactly who you want as the quarterback of your team. He's become underrated. He has got to be a coach's dream. I mean, he's never going to throw his coaches under the bus. He's never going to throw teammates under the bus. There are times where you're asked a question point blank. In this case, one of the stars of the defense has criticized the coaching staff. What do you do as the quarterback? He diffuses it. He says the thing that he believes, he calculates will be the least disruptive for the team. This is exactly right. This is why you got to love the guy. Oh, he's just a game manager, a mobile game manager who's big on third down, a Super Bowl champion. That's exactly who you want. And then a guy who does this, who you never have to worry about causing a problem in this way. Now, all that said, in fact, the pack leader of the Seattle Seahawks is Pete Carroll. I mean, it's actually the coach in this case. But even so, and maybe that suits Russell Wilson's personality, but even so, this guy is just excellent in so many ways, and this is another example of it.
He is excellent. He is about team first. Russell Wilson is a winner and a good guy. But I'll be damned if I want to hear him say that he'd do it again. That's idiotic. That's just stupid. I'm sorry. He's not stupid, but that's a stupid damn statement. And by the way, I'm not just calling Russell Wilson out on this. I'm calling Donovan McNabb out. I'm calling any of our NFL aficionados, the experts that we have at this network, who I respect and listen to and revere to some degree.
I thought you were so brilliant because you knew what you didn't know.
Listen.
What happened to the
But I also know what I do know. But I also know what I do know. I also know what I do know. That doesn't mean I have to agree with them 100% of the time. This is a democracy, Max Kellerman. Don't you look at me like that. Look. I will be calm, because I saw you just now. Let me tell you something, man. I don't want to hear that. Look, you throw that catch to Curse, the acrobatic catch is bumbling all over the place. Beast mode, before that, you hit him down the left sideline. He scampers down the field to put you in position to win the Super Bowl. Then this dude from the 5-yard line runs 4.5 yards on first down. You got second down at the half-yard line with beast mode in the backfield.
But they don't have beast mode anymore.
Listen to me. I'm talking about that play, Mollywood. That play. Okay. That play in that Super Bowl. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode behind you. And you got, listen. The man said he would do it again. Did he not say he would do it again?
That shows confidence in his team and in himself, Stephen A.
You two, stop it. You two, right now.
You're going to lie detector test?
Listen, right now, both of y'all getting to me. Y'all get to me right now. I'll admit it. Y'all get to me. I'm not going to take this from y'all. You're going to tell me that
Beast mode's not there. He's saying I could get it done this time.
Mama's watching, so I'm not gonna let me calm my phone. Now you different. My mother, I got to watch my tone when I'm talking to you, Mollywood. But you know your football. I'm not gonna let you get away with this.
Don't
act like it's okay.
Back your way out of the corner.
Excuse me, may I speak? I don't act like it's okay, Mollywood, to be at the half-yard line with beast mode.
It's not.
This is what we're talking about.
Hold on. Time out.
Did he not say he would do it again? Did he not say he would do it again?
Time out. Was that a good idea to not run Marshawn Lynch in and win the Super Bowl? No, it was a bad idea.
We're
on the same page.
What about throwing it over the middle?
Does Russell Wilson...
Donovan and his Arizona living self sitting there talking about how it was the right play.
That's why you want Russell Wilson. You want Russell Wilson on that fence. You need him on that fence. On that wall, or was it a fence? I forgot.
It was a wall. It was a wall, damn it.
Look
Look at you.
The point is,
it was a wall.
You need him there. Whatever the hell was. You need him there.
Oh, stop
you
it,
want him there. You need him there. Because he knows the question.
Water, sprinkle it on you. Sprinkle it on you. You got to be crazy. What?
He knows the question is not about what would actually happen. It's a trap set.
So now you're thinking
by
for
the
him.
media.
Now you're thinking for him.
To see if he will fall into it.
Now you're thinking for him.
And because he is a great quarterback of a great franchise, he won't fall into the trap.
So in other words, he can't sit back and go like this. Damn. We might have should have ran the football in that situation. We wouldn't let that happen again. He can't do that. That's too much. Oh, that's showing weakness.
He supports the coaching staff. He's not going to throw anyone under the bus.
Russell wasn't a politician near you. Is he running for office and he didn't tell us about it?
Yes, what office he's running for? Super Bowl champion. That's the office.
Excuse me. That ain't going to stop him.
And he's already a one-term.
That doesn't prevent him from telling the truth. That's why Richard Sherman got in their face, because he's tired of hearing that nonsense.
Yeah, but Richard Sherman's not the quarterback. Russell Wilson is. That comes with additional responsibility.
He can handle it if it happened again.
Pete Carroll is a great coach. Pete Carroll is a good man. Pete Carroll made one of the worst calls in Super Bowl history.
I agree.
That was atrocious.
I agree. Run in Marshawn Lynch. By the way, Russell Wilson agrees too. He just ain't going to tell you that and throw anyone under the bus.
Take a breath. Relax. Calm down. We got more to get to.
Welcome back to First Take, presented by Bass Pro Shops.
It says here, that's not even fair. By the way, kids, stay away from all this stuff. Bum. I always keep my eye on them. Right. I don't think the sky is falling. Jedi mind trick. Yes, he is worth every penny.
The countdown continues. We're less than 2 weeks away from First Take's big move to ESPN. Wale will perform live with a special guest. I cannot wait for that. Plus other big guests, including Ice Cube, Jim Kelly will be here. So make sure you join us as we go from 2 to 1 on January 3rd.
I think 2.5 years ago, some viewed the tape locally and thought it was fair or appropriate, or to some degree it was significant penalty and discipline. 2.5 years later, it's fair to say it isn't enough, and that's positive in that that's the way the things have gone in the last 2.5 years. That really the only thing that's ever acceptable anymore is dismissal.
That was Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops saying he thinks if the Joe Mixon assault had happened in today's world as opposed to in 2014, the punishment would have been different. Trevor Manich is in the house. We appreciate you joining us on this and having your perspective, but I'm going to start with Max. Max, what's your reaction to Stoops' comments you just heard?
Well, he looks bad here. Stoops looks bad because it's fine if he recognizes his error and changes course, but once he changes course, the question is, why did he err in the first place? And what are the actual motives for changing course now? So I don't think there's a way around him looking bad.
He looked bad, but I think it was because he was inartful. Because I think what he was really trying to say, and what he did say at a different point in that 21 minutes, is that today the second chances that might have been available 2.5 years ago aren't available now, partly because of the Ray Rice video. If the Mixon video had come out 2.5 years ago, that would have been the Ray Rice video. Then you look at Baylor and things that you can't come back from. All those things have transpired in the 2.5 years after that. And I think what he was saying is that while coaches look to how they can save a kid, if it's at all possible, and sometimes it's not, today that window is much more narrow, and dismissal really has become the only option.
Let me say this, and we'll get into this a little bit further. I didn't really have much of a problem with anything that Stoops said. I don't think the problem needs to be aimed in his direction for anything he articulated. I think the real problem emanating from his words is the indictment against our society that exists. He just illuminated it and highlighted it. When he talks about what would have been the case a couple of years ago compared to now, that's not an indictment against him. It's an indictment against us. This happened a couple of years ago. What happens? Mixon gets suspended for the year. The NFL at the same time, because the Ray Rice situation happened around that same time. Ray Rice's original sentence by Commissioner Roger Goodell was 2 games. It was only after the uproar, because of the release of the video, where we all saw with our own eyes what Ray Rice had actually done, that the commissioner then piggybacked off of it and ultimately suspended him indefinitely. I think it was like 6 games or whatever the case may be. My point to you is that that's not about what Stoops is saying. That's about Stoops highlighting, look, this is what it would have been like today if this had happened today and we had to make this decision today, things might have been far more severe because back then we were a bit too lenient. All of us were. The National Organization for Women and other women's rights organizations. What is their battle cry? What is it that they're saying, Molly? What they're saying is that you guys, you folks, have not paid nearly enough attention to this, which is why when the Ray Rice situation came down, what happened? Everybody came out, and all of a sudden you saw USA Today with articles highlighting Roger Goodell the day he took office and the cases that came before him and the leniency that he had exercised and how the NFL needed to address this and how big and poignant of a problem this was because we didn't address it with the fervor and the tenacity that it deserved. And that's what I took from what Stoops was saying yesterday.
Stephen A., that's fair. And let me preface what I'm about to say by the fact that I think I understand the situation as well as a man can.
Okay.
When I was a small boy, I saw my mom beaten and bruised. And I was helpless to do anything about it. Imagine seeing it now. So when I heard about what Mixon had done, without the video, my first reaction was fury. Because I had seen it, I didn't have to imagine it academically like a written description would be. And I think the video coming out makes it real to people, and that's good. Because all of a sudden now it's no longer academic, it's visceral. And I think it's not just good for the way we treat these kinds of situations. It's good for young men to actually see the ramifications of it. Because when they're in the heat of the moment, they're thinking whatever they're thinking, and I'm the alpha man, and all of a sudden now in the back of their mind is, hey, this is ugly. And the results are ugly. And we all agree with that. I think where we have a disagreement is in how Bob Stoops handled it back then. Because back then, he thought like a coach thinks, which is, I promised the parents of this kid, Joe Mixon, that I would treat him like my own son. The ugly incident happened. It was ugly. Is it something that can be come back from? Stoops thought yes, because this was a guy that was a good kid in Stoops' mind who made a bad mistake. He wasn't a bad kid who did something you would expect. He didn't just sit him out for a year. He made him go through a long series of steps with zero margin for error for Mixon and made him earn his way back. And Mixon's a better young man for it. And that's what we're talking about. Some things you can't come back from. But I think now, and this is what Stoops said, today because of this Mixon video, the Rice video, Baylor, Greg Hardy, etc., now the margin for error for who gets a second chance and who doesn't has changed. And that's a good thing in this way. If it prevents it from happening, if somebody thinks twice before doing it again, then I'm down for it.
I don't even want to add anything to that. I think that was just right.
So well said. And we so appreciate your perspective and your honesty for opening up here because it matters for this discussion. So thank you. Merry Christmas, Trevor.
You too.
Happy New Year. We will see you next week. Coming up next, the bad man has the Packers rolling, but will he roll to another MVP? The guys will tell you that after the break.